This is where it's at.
Trey, I'm going to need you to sit down. You were just doing karate kicks.
I can't help it with this music. It gets me fired up.
I don't need to see karate kicks.
I'm getting ready for my next test.
I know how good you are. You don't have to show off. Yeah, you don't have to show off for me. But you seem awfully riled up.
I'm actually feeling a lot better. My hips are feeling a little better. And so
Your hips?
I'm not feeling as old as I normally do. So
why are your hips bothering you?
I don't know what happened, but it just got to a point where I tried to throw a round kick and like my 20-year-old instructor. And next thing you know, I couldn't walk for a couple of days. So it was pretty frustrating.
Yeah, I don't think that happens if you're 24.
No, not at all.
Right.
Yeah, he went to do a jump sidekick, jump reverse sidekick of some sort.
And a what?
He twisted his ankle, jumped up, and felt fine. Very next day, came back in, said it wasn't sore at all. So it's good to be young.
Yeah. Isn't that scary? We'll never be that. We'll never know what that's like ever again.
I think I told you a few minutes ago, I fell asleep on my couch wrong, and my knees just locked up on me. So
you're in a weird position. You wake up in pain, absolute pain. You're like, I just wanted to sleep. I just wanted a nap.
Simple nap, and then I couldn't walk.
That's funny. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Good. I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, is this lucky number?
No, this is 14.
This is 14.
It is?
I'm sorry.
It is. I'm glad you're so up on our show.
Yeah.
So, I know I give an update on the countries, but this is great. It's so much fun to watch us spread all over the. So I'll make this one quick. Greece is now on board.
Nice.
They're on board. So
that was a great musical.
I also knew you were going to say that, but look, I love the movie Grease.
Absolutely. You know what's the worst movie?
What?
Grease 2.
No, you got me there. Is that the same cast?
No.
It's not Travolta.
Not Travolta, no.
Oh, well then duh.
Yeah.
That's silly. Can you imagine? I wonder if they tried to cast somebody before it ended up being Travolta.
That's a great question. We'll have to Google that.
I don't care that much about it.
Me either.
Yeah. I mean, all that matters is that it was completely legit the way it is.
Well, yeah.
I'm super excited to watch it every time it's on. Every time it comes on, like TNT, I'm like, okay, here we go. Pink ladies, here we go.
It's a bad habit.
What are they? The T-Birds?
T-Birds, yes.
Yeah. I would be a T-Bird.
Yeah.
Would you be the other one? What was the other group? The Flames or something?
Oh, you got me.
That dude had like a flame on his car. I forget who they were. But anyway. So we have Greece, the country. And you know what has continued a big uptick is Iceland.
Iceland.
My boys and girls out there in Iceland. I love it.
I love it. Tour.
I'm so excited because I've been trying to get there, and I think, not that I couldn't justify it before, but now I can really justify it. We have people that need to see us.
Yeah.
But it's definitely spreading. So if you hear this and you're listening, which I'm assuming you will, we love you. And keep spreading the word, and we're prepared to come and learn about your culture.
Right.
We want to be a part of this, and I just can't wait to see Reykjavik.
I've seen it.
Yeah, you've seen it.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
cool trip.
jealous. It was fun, huh?
It was a fun trip. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to go. I remember I was going to go with you guys.
A lot of snow.
Couldn't quite do it. I think something about having a kid.
Yeah.
I think
You had to be responsible.
I think my wife was like, no, I'm saying I think it was 2 months before my first child was born.
Right.
And so it was like, well, do I even approach this? Is it worth it? Is this one of those battles I should just not even try?
Yeah, it's hard to jump on a plane and fly that many hours back if there was an emergency. So, yeah.
That was it. If it was probably like midway, like 4 months in or something, then I could have maybe swung it. Well, she could have too.
Yeah, that's true.
She was unable to fly. She didn't want to fly within 2 months. Like you said, if something happens. Anyway, so Iceland, keep it rolling. We love you.
Thank you.
And Greece, hey, you just jumped on board, which is fine. There's no time frame on when you can join Stay in the Gray.
But make sure you spread the wealth.
Spread the wealth. We love Greece. I wonder if they would make, you know how they make those statues over there? They're known for their like Achilles statues. You know what I'm talking about?
With the private parts and everything?
Sure, Trey. The fact that you focus, that's the first thing you think of when we think of Achilles is his private region. But they do a ton of these statues. When I visited on my honeymoon, we did a cruise over in the Mediterranean. We hopped onto an island in Greece that wasn't mainland Greece, if you will, but it still had all those statues. And Achilles is kind of a big deal over there.
Yeah,
that was their boy. And I wondered if this grows from a single listener, which I think now there's a few, into something special. Will they make statues of Trey and Ryan from Stay in the Gray?
Well, that's obvious, Ryan. Yes. I mean,
would you be concerned about your package size on that statue?
Well, would we have the final?
I don't
final
know.
say?
I don't know. Maybe we say we're not going to allow this, but I mean, we can't say that. They can do what they want, right?
Can we put like a big leaf over it just to leave the people wondering?
You have like a little leaf?
No, I want a big leaf.
That'd be great. We have these huge, massive leaves over it. Like, anyway, so we lost the Greece listeners.
Yeah, it was nice having you guys.
We tend to do that.
Yeah.
We wonder why it kind of levels off after each show. But so
they're like, my God.
So that's the update there. Everything else is good. We've got everybody growing. I mean, it's exciting from what I'm seeing. So everybody email us. We want to talk with you. We want to hear feedback.
Keep the interaction going.
Interaction, please. I mean, it's been so much fun with the people that have emailed, and we're about to get some crazy paraphernalia stuff. I mean, stuff you wouldn't even think of with our logo. We want our logo on everything.
Yes.
And so we're going to start doing some giveaways for that kind of stuff. So if you email us and we'll do it for a while. I mean, until we get, we don't have enough product, but let us know if you want some of this gear.
Yeah.
So
sounds like
keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up.
So I got a fun story to tell you.
Oh, I love fun Trey stories.
And actually was on the way over here tonight. So
okay.
My mom called me up, said she hadn't heard from me. She wanted to check in, make sure everything was all right. So
your mom?
My mom.
Did she just pick you up from a date or?
No.
Okay. Just making sure.
But she wanted to see if I needed a ride to the date. So she was just checking in, and she wanted to make sure and let me know that she has been listening, which is exciting.
That is really exciting.
And she made it known that she started from the first because she realizes we like to mention stuff from previous shows as we go through. A
little bit, yeah.
So she is on the episode where I meet this woman at an adult bookstore.
Oh, what a fantastic story that was.
And she starts going into mommy mode as far as, why are you getting into a car with a strange woman?
That was what she was concerned about.
There are crazy women out there. And she said, maybe I watch too much of these crime shows and stuff like that. So she's like, I'm starting to worry. But I haven't finished the episode yet. So I don't know how the outcome is, if you made it out okay. So she's sitting there.
Wait, go ahead. Go ahead. Say it again.
I said, wait a minute, mother. You haven't heard the whole episode, but you're wondering if I made it out okay. She's like, well, yeah, there's crazy people out there, and I just wanted to make sure you made it out safe. I said, Mom, I'm talking to you on the phone right now.
Right now.
So obviously, I made it out okay.
Then we told the story about a month ago. So you've been fine.
It's
She's
been a
seen you
while.
since then.
Yeah.
And during that show was also a ways since the since the date had happened.
Exactly. But yeah, that's my mom.
That is hilarious.
I said, thank you,
Oh, my
Mother.
God.
I now have a great story to tell on the show.
Yeah.
She was so excited. She's like, I don't want to hear. I got to find out how it ends to see how if you made it out. Okay.
She didn't hear the end.
She hadn't finished it out yet. So yeah.
I see what she meant. It just didn't come out the right way.
Right. I was like, well, Mom, I'm talking to you on the phone. I must have made it out okay. So she's like, be careful moving forward.
Maybe you were scarred from it, or maybe something happened that you weren't okay, and now you are.
Right.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe she thought that night something might have happened.
So, and of course, every night after I leave here, I have to make sure when I get home, I have to text her and let her know I'm home safe. So, makes her feel good. So,
okay. I mean,
that's what happens when you live alone. She's like, I don't have anybody to reach out to make sure you got home okay. So, text me when you get home.
So she always reached out to like the wives.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah.
Good old Mama Trey.
Yeah.
I love Mama Trey.
Yeah, she's awesome.
That was funny. That's classic.
That was a good story.
Yeah, when I see her, I'll tell her that you got out okay.
Yeah, I made it out okay.
I wonder, out of all the other stories that you've told and the ones soon to be told, by the way, teaser, there will be another Trey story on tonight's podcast episode.
A dating story.
A dating story, I'm sorry. Yeah, another Trey dating story.
Meetup?
A mishap, if you will. I don't know the full details. I'm looking forward to it.
Should be interesting.
Before we get there, let's talk about something else that's just not even close to related to that. Were you done with your story, by the way?
Yes, my mom is
Yeah,
fine.
I like
so,
that.
yes.
I like that story. But she's listening. So
We were both laughing about it when she realized what she said.
That's what I got out of the story, is that your mom's listening.
Yes, that's all that
That's
matters.
a huge asset for our show.
And I have to show her how to rate the show. She wanted me to help her out with that next time I'm over there. So
That
she's like, how do I give it a 5-star?
look at all these 5. There's like 3 5-stars. Yeah, it's our moms and
Us.
us. I do get excited when I post something and like 2 seconds later I get a heart on it. I'm like, yeah, somebody right away, and then it's you.
I'm trying to support the
I mean,
show.
you do love the show. I
Yeah.
get it. But okay, I just have to talk about this. I've been debating talking about it because it's kind of like, is it entertaining? But I think it will be, and I'll make it quick. It's because this evening I was watching this with my kids, and there is a guy on YouTube named Blippi.
A guy named Blippi.
A guy named Blippi.
Are you serious
And
right now?
I guarantee you, I'm pausing now because there are parents out there that might be listening to this that are going, oh, God, Blippi, this guy. Blippi, he always goes, spell it Blippi. So that's how you spell it. And this guy, let me just cut to the chase. He is worth about $40 million.
Are you serious?
And he puts out kids' videos
And he goes by the name of
of
Blippi.
Blippi. And they're kids' videos on YouTube. And to his credit, it's I can see how the kids will like it, but the kids are obsessed with it.
Oh, yeah?
I have as we know, I have a 1-year-old, and he's about 1.5. And when you get to that age, he's running around like crazy, but it's still that kind of wobble run, and
Right.
he's talking, but it's in a whole different language that nobody knows.
It's like he's drunk you.
Pretty much. And so as soon as the theme song comes on, he is just beeline for toys are thrown, food is thrown. Nothing matters anymore except
for
Blippi. In fact, I think that was like his first word.
Oh, my God.
He doesn't say mom or dada very much. But I tell you what, when this guy comes on, it's all about Blippi. So let me play this for you real quick, just so you can visualize what he sounds like. And then this is the theme song at the very beginning.
All right.
You ready?
Yes.
So much to learn about, it'll make you want to shout, Blippi!
Hey, it's me, Blippi, and today I'm at
Yeah, that's him.
Kids Playland.
She sounds like she has a lot of energy.
Arizona. Whoa! And he and I were just painting. What are you doing back there?
What are you doing back?
Hey,
You have to investigate with their fingers.
Of course, have fun. Come on,
Okay.
let's go paint.
She sounds enthusiastic.
Okay. So that's Blippi. And again, I got to commend the guy. I mean, he did well. What bothers me about this guy is if you research deep enough, you find out he has some skeletons in his closet.
I can imagine.
And meanwhile, there are how many millions of parents letting their kids watch this guy? And I won't go into detail because it actually will cross the line into the bathroom talk we're not supposed to talk about. Apparently, he was trying to make his way financially in the YouTube world.
Okay.
Doing like shock humor.
Okay.
Which gets dirty, if you will. In fact, it was bathroom stuff and that kind of thing, which is disgusting, right? And in my opinion, some people, whatever, that's their fetish. I don't want to know those people. But he did this apparently before, and then all of a sudden he goes, you know what I'd probably be good at is kids' videos. It's just very strange. And so I talked to other like-minded parents, and they're all like, yeah, this guy, we don't want him anywhere near our kids, but they just love it. And the production's pretty good. As you heard, there's a song. But I just wanted to mention that, and I wanted to know if, just let you know this guy. So it had me thinking, like, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to entertain people. We're trying to bring the news. We're trying to talk current events. We're being serious. We're being funny. In reality, maybe we should just put on some goofy costumes and film some kid shows.
Sounds like it. If he's worth $40 million?
Yeah, I think he's worth $40 million.
Wow.
I think, and you look at every video, and it's got millions and millions of plays.
I wonder if he's been on an episode of Law and Order SVU yet. Told his story.
He might. He's a little creepy, but that's all part of his shtick.
Let me ask you this: how soon is too soon for your child to go to therapy after watching Blippi?
It could be immediate. Because there's an addiction. I mean, I don't get it. So anybody that, I guess the purpose of this is that anybody, if you want something that's kind of entertaining to check out, check this guy out. It's and just imagine him doing like shock value bathroom weird videos. And now I'm trying to make a decision whether I should let my kids watch this guy. But again, apparently it's everybody's got their past, right?
Well, before we do another show next time, I want to see him react to this Blippi and see.
You want to see my kid
go crazy?
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining. So
that's pretty funny.
I just can't imagine I can't imagine us doing a kid show. But if he can do it, we can do it. So if you guys don't start communicating with us via email, we might have to.
We're going to start the kid shows.
We might have to start doing the kid shows. So anyway, that's the Blippi talk. Did you hear that our president, he has a wife named Jill? Do you know that?
No.
Well, so you keep up with our country's politicians.
Yeah, through social media like everybody else.
Yeah. Jill Biden, you know how at the end of a professional sports season and the college seasons, they invite the team to the White House?
Right, the champions or whatever, the winners. Yeah.
Have you heard this story?
I have not.
Okay. So Jill Biden came out and said for the women's college, so WNCAA, the winner was LSU.
Okay, LSU.
I don't like to give them props for anything.
Right.
And the team that they beat in the final game was Iowa.
Okay.
Jill Biden came out and said, I want both of those teams to come to the White House.
Oh, well, of course.
And I just kind of laughed because it's so this mindset that everybody has now about everybody getting a trophy and everybody this and I mean, come on.
Everybody getting.
You really want and guess what? Iowa was like, no, like immediately. Like, no. What the hell?
Right.
What are you going to do? Introduce us as the losers?
Right. Yeah. The
runner up? That doesn't sound good.
Second winners?
Yeah,
if you're not first, you're last.
That's right. In the words of Ricky Bobby. I just look, I don't want to get into this, do we hate the current president? Do we like another guy? Who do we get into? But this is silly on any side, right?
Yeah, that is kind of silly.
If you voted for Biden, I won't get into that, but if you voted for Biden, then you still can call this out for what it is, which is just a bunch of everybody gets a trophy nonsense. And I can't. What do you think about the everybody gets a trophy mindset for kids?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Of course not, right?
Maybe that's the way I grew up, but I don't like it.
Well, we all kind of grew up that way. Now I think it's probably you're in your 20s, late 20s, and when that started. maybe, or maybe
Give or take, yeah.
I wish it was younger, but it's silly. I mean, you're basically telling people that no matter what you do, you're going to get rewarded.
Right. And no matter what you do, you're going to succeed, or not succeed, but you're going to be considered a winner, or
Sure.
which you don't want to call a kid a loser by any means, but you want the kid to strive to be better if they don't come in first. And that's kind of how it was. Every year, if I didn't get picked for an all-star team, I worked harder for the next year to be on that all-star team, so on and so forth. So it's just silly with a participation trophy ribbon. When I go to my tournaments, they have the participation ribbons. I'm like, you better not hand me one of those. That's ridiculous. So
I would turn them down too. But again, you're a 6-year-old kid and you're running around at the end of the season and playing soccer, and you don't really, you don't know whether you're good or not and what your team did and who cares. And I know because I coached 6th grade soccer. I'm sorry, 6-year-olds playing soccer, 1st grade soccer. And they, some of them kind of know and they want to win, but some of them don't give a shit.
Well, and maybe you started at a younger age as far as that participation crap. But
I'm sure they do.
Once you get to a certain point, if you win, you get a trophy. If you don't, no trophy. It's pretty simple.
Okay, I'm with you. For 3, 4, 5-year-olds when they first start playing sports, t-ball, soccer, all that, okay, I get it. You're not going to tell a 5-year-old that, you blew the championship game, so none of us get a trophy.
Yeah, good job.
You missed that catch.
Good job, Billy.
Yeah. And Billy grows up to be the people we're worried about right now psychologically.
Right.
But once you get to a certain point, maybe middle school, maybe before, you have to change that mindset because it's not going to motivate anybody.
Right.
I mean, anybody that's listened to us talk, I'm very much about being motivated.
Yeah.
And the reason that great things are done in life is because of people who are motivated. And so if you teach these kids and as they grow up, like, okay, if I just kind of run around the field and we lose, I'm still going to be rewarded.
Right.
They're not going to run. They're going to run just a little bit slower, and they might not be as good as they could be. Go ahead.
Or when you get into the real world, not everybody gets the raise. Not everybody gets the
Exactly.
promotion. So just because you show up to work doesn't mean, hey, I get more money. No.
And they'll be surprised, like, what do you mean?
Right? Yeah.
I showed up for work. Well, that doesn't mean you get
You should get the raise too.
Yeah. Or the promotion. So anyway, I saw that, and I think it was a week ago, and I just wanted to bring it up. So these are things I'm seeing, and I want to bring up because we like to share with you guys.
That is frustrating.
Things that go through our mind. So Jill Biden, nice try, but I'm pretty sure this country is against what you're doing.
Yep.
Except for a few people. I'm sure there are a few that are like, oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. Get the participation trophies out.
Yeah, man.
Nope.
Not a fan of those people, but
Not at all.
So, would you like to talk about? Was it last show or the show before? We did. I went off on a little bit of a rant about our European listeners and how they looked at us, and some of them, I'm hoping it was just some, were listening to us because the silly, goofy Americans are entertaining. And I was very. You didn't care. You're like, if they're listening, fine. And I'm like, I'm taking this a different way because I got all mad. And so we went through a whole episode, and we did kind of serious stereotypes about what they don't like about Americans and things like that. We talked about other countries over there and how they don't like us. And
Right.
I'd like to, just for our European listeners, turn the tables a little bit. And yeah, right. And I'd like to talk about the stereotypes of over there. The problem I found when I was kind of like I knew some of them, but when I was reminding myself of those stereotypes, the difference is over there, it's like a bunch of countries that are all different, like completely different, right next to each other. And so they all have stereotypes for each other. So when I go look, I'm like, what are some good stereotypes for Europe from an American viewpoint? It's like, well, there really isn't any that kind of are all encompassing. It's just individual countries in Europe.
Gotcha.
So it's like, for example, I mean, we've all heard like some of the basic ones for France, right? This one's really funny though. Unhygienic, rude, and they're very snobby, right? And we talked about it last time. They don't like us to speak English when we order food. All these things. They wear berets.
Right.
That's France. Well, none of those. I haven't heard any of those for countries that surround France, even though they're right there. Do you have any more for France?
No, I mean,
Before we move on, cover it.
sounds pretty.
Yeah, but I mean that's. Although there are some good ones, that's like the language of love, and lovers go to Paris and those types. But I'm not buying it.
Said you can always just ascribe to the legendary rudeness. That's interesting.
You're reading this off of a webpage, right?
Yeah, I think the same webpage you are, which
is
is
it?
kind of weird. We both pulled up the same.
Yeah. Oh wow, we did. So with France, the other thing that I need to mention is that we always viewed France as kind of the weakling when it came to world conflict. You've heard that, right?
Yes.
So they're the weenies. They're the ones that needed to be saved by the British in World War II. Well, and everybody needed to be saved by us, right? So anyway, I mean, I'm not going to lay on to France anymore because we have a few French listeners, and I don't want them to go away. We're just talking about stereotypes, like you guys talked about us. So we're going to talk
Do
about.
we really care about the French that much?
Yeah, I mean, I like the French.
Do you?
No,
Okay.
like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with the French.
We love to hate them.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So, Spain is all about like sombreros and bullfighting, and that I've also heard that they're lazy and things like that. So they have their own. They're right next to France, and they're completely different.
Would you do the running of the bulls? Would you try that?
I don't. Hell no. Like
No?
No. I tried to think about it for a second, and I'm like, what
No?
would make me do that?
Just to say you did it.
Can you imagine you and me? I don't know how it's done, but don't they just like
Just let 'em out on
open
the street?
thing and
Yeah.
then everybody runs?
Yeah.
You and I would be the.
I would probably pull a hamstring or
We'd
twist an ankle.
We'd be in the background going, go, go. And then, screaming like little girls. And we would be if anybody was like impaired by the bull, it would be one of us.
Yeah. I would be screaming like a big girl, Ryan.
Oh, okay. Well, either way. No, I don't know. I don't think I would do that. I think I'd be do they have spectators?
I'm sure they do, but yeah, I would definitely.
Like I would be on a balcony looking down.
I said, look at this asshole.
Yeah, I'd be on the balcony like, man.
Wait a minute, that's Trey.
Yeah, Trey, get up here.
That would be fun.
The other one I want to talk about real fast is Iceland, our country,
Iceland.
our peeps, right? And this is really interesting. I had no idea that people, and I'm not going to say that this is true. In fact, it is not true. But for some reason, they were talking about how it's such a lowly inhabited country. It's only like 300,000 people there, which we want every one of them listening to the podcast.
Yep.
There was a whole like rumor back a long time ago that everybody was kind of related to each other because there were so few people. Like that's how they had to repopulate or to reproduce. And so there's like this weird thing about incest and whatever. But then But then everybody kind of, I guess, got over that. I think this is a long time ago.
Got to keep it in the family.
And then what happened was now everybody says that Iceland's women are the world's most beautiful and its men the world's strongest. Now,
Is it because they're all related?
I don't know. Is that like a thing?
That's scary.
But all I know is we definitely need to go there now if the women are super beautiful and we've got buddies who can defend us. And I know my friend, if you will, in the program that I think I told you about when I was in Glasgow. He is super big and strong. Like I imagine that. So he fits the stereotype.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I just thought that was interesting. I had never ever heard about how everybody's related to each other over there. So
Well, I do procrastinate a lot, so I'd fit in perfectly. Is what it looks like. So
is that another one over there,
It
Iceland?
says, they always procrastinate about simple choices.
Wow. Give me one. What are you seeing over there?
This one that jumped out at me as interesting. I didn't realize this. Ireland, bad-tempered, drunk, redhead Catholics. I would have never guessed that.
That seems, yeah. I mean,
that's crazy to me.
I'm baffled that you would even say those things. No, actually, to me, that's not even a stereotype. That's just Ireland.
That's just Ireland.
Yeah, but
I don't think they would shy away from that stereotype.
no, I mean, some of them are quite proud of it, I think. And then there's, of course, the UK, which is mostly England, because look, living in Scotland, I'll tell you, the Scots do not behave or associate with the English in any way.
Yeah.
But England, some of these bad stereotypes are like bad teeth. Like their dentistry is horrible over there. They have bad food with no flavor, which I gotta say, that wasn't too far off from what I experienced. Especially when they tried to do a Tex-Mex restaurant in the middle of London.
Are you serious?
It was so funny. They didn't know what poor waiter didn't know what, quesadilla was and how, that it was even pronounced like that. I literally think they pronounced it queso.
That's when you time to leave.
Yeah. But no, we didn't. My boy, our boy, Chaz over there, we were sitting there and of course he didn't know really. There's also a burrito shop in Glasgow, Scotland that tried their best.
Was it good?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I think the problem is that over there, there's not a lot of spice and seasoning and flavor. It's just very bland.
Yeah.
So yeah, the burrito, everything was fine, but it was missing something. But anyway, so they're also known as like the crazy soccer fans, and what's the Liverpool or Manchester United, and they're all rugby, and you get that over there too. So it's just interesting to see how all these countries are right next to each other, and they're so different.
I'm going to give a shout out to where my namesake came from.
Okay.
Denmark.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It says the Danes are said to have a great quality of life and to be helpful, punctual, and trusting. I'd like to think I'm all of that. So,
wow. Why
that.
are they kissing the Danes' ass?
Right. It says trusting but reserved environmentalists. Does that mean they're tree huggers?
I don't know. Are you? I mean,
I'm not really a tree hugger, no.
No. Well, here you go. I think you have some associates in Sweden. We've talked about Sweden before.
Yes.
Tall, slender, boring blondes.
That's
pretty
a
funny.
rough one there.
That's rough. Well, except for the tall, slender, and blonde thing. The boring wasn't very nice. But all I've ever known, and I'm not going to even look at this, all I've ever known about Sweden, the stereotype, is that they are very pretty blonde people.
Right.
Tall, Viking-ish, and then, of course, the things we talked about, where they're very feminists, socialists, all those things. It's kind of both sides over there, if you will.
Yeah. This one was interesting. The Netherlands, liberal, greedy, gay, stoned cyclists.
That's fantastic. That's quite a bit. There's a lot going on in the Netherlands, apparently.
Wow.
Liberal, okay, a lot of those countries are.
It says that
greedy.
Amsterdam is sometimes regarded as the unofficial gay capital of Europe.
I didn't know that. I just thought all those women were in the window. I guess it's gay. You can be a woman.
Half the Dutch population is assumed to be gay. That's interesting.
Half of the population, and obviously you've got the pot over there and the legalization. That's kind of the first place. Obviously, the United States is trying to catch up.
It was the first country.
Kind of the first country, yeah.
First country to allow a gay marriage in 2001.
Oh,
interesting.
Good for them. But the thing that got me, Trey, is the stoned cyclists. As everybody who's listening to the show knows, my lovely co-host over here loves to ride his bike. Are you still doing that?
I am.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
What did I call? I called 3 months. We're not even close to that yet.
No.
But what does it mean to be is it just literally people get stoned and then they go ride their bike?
I guess so, with the weed.
With the weed?
It says the country boasts more bicycles than people. That's got to be interesting.
Really? So just like you're walking around, there's just a shitload of bike?
Just laying around.
Just there.
We got to go check this out.
Yeah, let's go see all these bikes.
Let's go ride a bike.
So that's
eat a brownie.
Yeah, we have to go. Look, I'm waiting for some Netherlands, some Dutch listeners. Okay,
we need to confirm.
Come on and listen.
Yeah.
If you do, then Trey and I will include you on our world tour.
Absolutely, that should be fun.
I think the last one I want to mention. I mean, there's Germany, and everybody's kind of heard of this, but in Switzerland, they kind of do their thing. Italy, Italian food and soccer, are the things I get from them, and they're very very outgoing, and they don't really worry about how they talk to the women. I've noticed when I was there.
Oh yeah,
it's just very they don't hide at all when they're like checking a woman out. It's very interesting. That's a stereotype that was true that I saw.
Interesting.
You know, there are movies where you see them, and they're the comedy movies, of course, but they're, you know, a girl walks by and they literally don't hide it. They're just like looking her up and down and smiling at her. And that was true. I mean, they were looking at my wife and I was uncomfortable. I was like, all right, guys, you know, but that's the thing. So, but the one that interested me, because I think you have a very close acquaintance from Romania.
I do.
It's not as exciting as some of the other stereotypes. But one of the things what do you think of when you think of Romania? You think Transylvania.
Transylvania. Vampires, right?
Vampires.
Dracula.
And Vlad the Impaler, who was Dracula. And you think of those things, and of course now this is trying to tell me that there are no vampires. That's just a stereotype.
Well, that's bullshit.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is the one thing on this that's just I'm not happy about. So I would like to take I would like to challenge that, and I would like to ask your acquaintance what he or she believes. I wonder if they'll give me that opinion. The other thing is that they think everybody in Romania speaks Russian just because I guess back in the day it was communist. So that makes sense. That's not a surprise, even though they don't speak Russian or they speak Romanian.
Right. Which is actually a Romance language.
Romance language. So, but the other one's kind of boring. They think that they get the capital cities, Bucharest and Budapest, mixed up. Budapest is actually Hungary. Pure excitement.
And I can confirm there's nothing creepy about. It says there's nothing creepy about it, and people living there don't have the funny accent you've heard in the Hollywood film. So I can confirm that.
I've heard this person speak, and it's quite nice.
Wonderful accent.
Yeah, take it easy. Okay, so we just thought we'd throw some European stereotypes. You're not in the clear, Europe, if you think that Americans are silly. You do some silly things.
We've got
that's
Google
the point.
right in front of us, ready to roll.
That's right. There are some silly things you do, and that's pretty much what we're going to say about that.
Right.
Where do you want to go if you go to one place in Europe besides Iceland? Well, that's a given, and Scotland.
Well, I would love to go to Romania now.
Well, okay, fair enough. I want to go to Romania too. I want to see. Look, regardless of this, I want to see the castles there, like the Dracula Castle, and like through the mountains and stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like that would be really cool.
Yeah. So that's a location I'm wanting to get to.
Well, for me, the other spot, because that's kind of Eastern Europe. For me, I'm thinking more like Western Europe and the stuff. You know, when I think of Europe, I mean, I need to include our Eastern Europe listeners, of course. But I'm thinking of more like Switzerland's on my list. That's probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
For me, is to go to Switzerland.
A lot of surfing there.
Yeah. Well, it's right on the ocean. It's like it's where the biggest waves are.
Perfect.
On the Pacific. Right? It's the Pacific,
yes,
right?
I want to learn to surf and go to Switzerland and surf.
That would be really funny if you call a travel agent and you're like, hook me up with any of the surfing packages they have
in Switzerland.
In Switzerland.
Don't they have good chocolate there too?
That they do, I heard. And cheese? No, not cheese. Yeah, Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese?
Or is that just the name of the cheese?
That's a great question.
Like, isn't there Swiss, like the watches?
And the army knives.
Swiss arms. Yeah.
They just call them army knives over there.
They do.
Yeah, the Swiss army knives.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Chinese. For some reason, they call their food just food.
Food. That's weird.
And we call it Chinese food.
Chinese food.
Yeah, that's strange. All right, enough about that. I don't want to bore anybody, but we thought some of those were pretty funny. Let's talk a little bit about something that's serious, and we're kind of in a goofy mood. So I'll try to make this. Let's get into our serious
voices
mode, and it's not the same where we're gonna bring up a topic and talk about it for 30 minutes. I can hear the collective sigh of relief.
Oh.
But there's a couple of stories that got me, and I'm just sitting here like they were basically like what the fuck stories.
Okay.
They were like really, and it had to do with, again, violence, and one of them had to do with guns again, and one of them had to do with the police again. And so I just want to mention these two stories to you and see what you think.
Okay.
I mean, this is why the Europeans, talk about us like we're idiots. It's because of these types of stories.
Because of idiots like this?
I mean, it's just unbelievable to me. And I would love to have a gun discussion without having this as arsenal for one side. I mean,
right.
Because it's hard to argue.
Right. Especially when stories like this come out.
That's what I mean. So what I mean, let me get to it. First one is actually took place in Florida.
Of course.
I knew you were going to say, I have so many lovely friends in Florida, and I think they would even probably agree.
Yeah.
There's some crazy shit that happens in Florida.
Yeah.
And so I'll just kind of sum this up. I don't want to, give, the name came out. This guy's name is Wallace Kirkland. He's 59 years old. That seems old, but at the same time, apparently not. So he's hanging out just on the side of the road, and they're in this little area that was kind of populated, but not, kind of a side street of the neighborhood they all live in. And this guy drives by him, and I think that it was a neighbor that they kind of knew, and I guess they didn't get along very well.
So somebody in the neighborhood, lived in the neighborhood too.
And they drove by, like, oh, there goes Frank, or whatever. He just drove by,
just a friendly wave.
And this guy Wallace, unfortunately, he's soiling a great Scottish name. This guy throws a beer can.
Well, of course.
At the car.
Yeah.
Well, everybody does that, right? If a car goes by, you throw a beer can.
Yeah.
And I don't know how full it was, so don't ask me how full it was, Trey.
How full was it, right?
I don't know. I feel like it would do damage if it was full. If it was not, it would just kind of bounce off.
But you're an idiot for wasting the beer, right?
Right. Well, that's what beer drinkers would say.
That's Florida, though.
That's Florida. So this guy stops, obviously. His car, I can just imagine the screech of the tires.
Yeah.
And he gets out, and immediately, apparently, according to witnesses, he starts screaming at this Wallace guy. He goes, I'm going to kill you, Wallace. Like, how dare you do that? Which is, if he's upset, great. And that's just talk. People say all the time, oh, I'll kill you if you do that.
So they knew each other?
They knew each other.
Okay.
Apparently, this was an ongoing kind of feud.
Gotcha.
But he gets out, I'm going to kill you. But that's, like I said, you get mad, you'd be like, I'll kill you, bro. And I don't think people really mean it.
They're just throwing that out there.
They're throwing it out. It's kind of like back in the day when we talked about during the show, the last show about being gay, and people would say that in high school. Oh, you're so gay, dude. We don't literally mean it, unless you did, unless the person was actually gay. But usually, you didn't.
Right.
It was just something to say. And we've gone away from that. I think it was time, but. So this guy gets out, I'm going to kill you. And so the guy that threw the beer can walks up to him immediately and just says, oh, yeah, and pulls out his gun and shoots the guy.
Wow.
Shoots the guy. Just
Kill
right in
him?
the chest. It eventually died. He got up
God.
and said, I can't believe you just did that. Apparently, this is all I witnessed.
Up?
He got up. He was shot in the chest. He got up and got in his car and tried to drive away.
This is Florida.
Yeah, he tried to drive away. There's probably an alligator right down the street. And he tried to drive away, and then of course he made it a couple minutes down the way, and they found him, and he had died.
Oh my God!
But it's like, this is the problem. One of the problems. This is the anti-gun side is basically saying, "Hello, this is what we're talking about."
Yeah.
This is a guy who I'm going to almost guarantee you isn't some sort of psycho, some sort of had mental issues, and unless people just define the fact that he has the ability to do this as having psychological issues. But I think he was just hanging out. He probably had too much to drink. Obviously, he's throwing beer away,
and he had a gun on him.
And he had his gun on him, and this guy made him angry, and he made a split second horrible drunken decision.
Right.
And I don't know if he was drunk. I'm just
assuming,
spitballing here. And guess what? You kill a guy.
And now your life's over too.
And your life's over too. I mean, it takes that quick. So that's the problem. Now, again, I'll say it. You can't just go and take everybody, to collect all the guns,
right,
all over the country. So we've got to figure out what would prevent this situation. And again, the anti-gun owners will say, ban the guns. Well, it really isn't that simple, in my opinion.
But the gun owners should be just as outraged that this idiot is just going to draw a gun and shoot somebody like that.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned that a couple times when we talked about these cases.
But on the flip side, if he didn't have a gun on him, this man does not get shot. Maybe they throw a few punches and
what happened
go
to
share
that?
a beer.
What happened to that back in the day? Where
right.
people would get in a little fight, everybody kind of yells, and eventually they pull them apart, and again they go and apologize and have a beer.
Yeah, they may roll around on the ground, get tired because they're, by the looks of it, he's a fat, out of shape, idiot.
He is. He looks like an. I hate to say it, but he does. He looks like an idiot, and that kind of a stereotype. If you thought about some big Southern kind of, big white dude that's 60 years old. This is exactly what
That's
you would
him?
picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he kills this guy. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, he had his gun on him. Do you ban it just to the house? Gun owners will say no. We got to be able to have it in our cars because we need to protect ourselves there too.
So here's where I want to challenge gun owners.
Do it.
How do you defend this guy?
I'm thinking about one of our friends right now. Who's
Right.
probably-
And I hope he's listening. But how do you defend an idiot like this? How do you change this type of behavior? Because I can easily say, and anybody could easily say, if he didn't have a gun on him, this doesn't happen. So how do you justify him being able to own a gun, having the opportunity to kill somebody like that just because he's an idiot? So,
well, I need to look and see if I didn't see. I think this just happened, so I didn't see whether this gun was legally owned or how he did it, or
right.
But again, he could legally own the gun and be doing everything that's absolutely fine, and just have a split second where he makes a bad decision.
Yeah.
And when the gun is involved, then the bad decision takes lives, including, like you said, his own's pretty much over.
Right.
At 60 years old and he killed somebody. I think they got him on manslaughter, which I think will be changed. I can't imagine it's that's the only thing, but it's first degree. So
I think there's certain things that make it where if he had intent, because if he left his house with the gun with the intent to kill this man, then I think that's
Intent's
first degree.
involved, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously he did not leave his house with the gun with the intent to kill this man.
Right.
It just happened because he's an idiot. So.
Well, like I said, it's you're drunk and you sit there and you get so enraged at somebody yelling back at you that you oh yeah, well check this out. Oh yeah, here's my gun, and it just I don't want to see it because I can't imagine seeing it, but I want to know if immediately when he does it, if there was remorse, if he was like, oh shit, how was I able to do that, and how did he feel knowing that he literally killed a guy. And his life was now over.
So gun owners, help us argue. Why shouldn't we take guns away when there's idiots like this with guns?
But and I'll go onto the gun owner side too, and the pro gun people, and say, how do you take them away?
Yeah, that's true.
I keep going back to that. I know that I can just see the anti-gun people just like this guy. People go, we can try. Taking away some is better than none. Well, come on. I mean, okay, fine. Then do it. But there are just as many cases, if not more, and I need to say that, where there are innocent people that die from, it's not
like stray bullets and stuff like that.
Well, stray bullets, but it's where people are aware of what they're doing. They go out with an intent to kill.
Yep.
They go out with definitely more of a who cares mindset daily. It's a revolving around drugs or gangs or things like that that happen also.
True.
So this story, I agree with Trey. Tell us, please, somebody tell us why there's not this, I feel like the pro-gun, the gun owners should unite here and just come together and go, look, are you kidding me right now? Be smarter. I mean, that's an understatement, but so that's the first story. The second story is more comical. and I hate to say that because the person that I'll be talking about, his name is Sean O'Connell. Good Irish name. Sean O'Connell. He's probably Irish, drunk,
Wasn't he
upset.
in that movie The Rock?
Yeah. No, wait. No, who is that? You're thinking of Chris O'Connell?
No.
No.
He was Robin,
Wasn't
wasn't
The
he?
Rock Sean Connery?
Oh, there we
That's
go.
Sean Connery, yeah.
Okay.
Really? You don't know who Sean Connery
So
is?
was he Robin in one of the Batmans?
No.
No, that was not him either.
That was Chris O'Connell,
Oh, gotcha.
I think. It wasn't Sean Connery. Sean Connery was like 80.
So was there any relation to Chris O'Connell in this one?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sorry.
When they reported it, they didn't mention,
specify?
They didn't mention if Chris O'Connell was related to this guy. But his name is Sean O'Connell. He's only 23.
Wow.
And I Trey and I say, and I try to follow up as good as best we can on these stories that we talk about. And oftentimes there's not a whole lot of follow up. It's just like, okay, yeah, it's exactly what happened. You guys nailed it. In this case, I'm really going to follow up on this because I don't see it happened this morning, And
In
when
Florida
I
also?
say this morning, no, this was up in Massachusetts, so it's
Oh,
kind of like
no.
the Florida of the North.
The Florida of the North.
In this case. But so today is the 17th. It is Wednesday the 17th. So
Okay.
for people, so it happened this morning, Wednesday the 17th. This guy in Oxford, Massachusetts, which I think is it's probably about a 45-minute drive outside of the major city, in this case, Boston.
Okay.
And so this guy, again, I don't know the motive, but the cops pull him over, and it's a small town, kind of suburbish type town, and they pull him over, and they're kind of backed into this big wall or something, and the guy gets out of his car, and he's got a sword,
A sword.
like a fucking sword,
Are
like
you
like, and he's in the middle of the intersection, just like waving a sword at people.
Did he have a gi on?
I don't know. No, he was not like would that be a ninja?
Or in karate?
Oh, what are they called in karate?
A gi.
No,
I don't
that's
know what they're called in Taekwondo.
that's the
uniform.
Uniform.
Yeah.
What are the swords called?
A samurai.
I thought that was
It's not a samurai sword. It's a samurai sword.
in Taekwondo.
I think in any
I thought that was like Kung Fu or
Kondo.
ninja. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Samurai sword. I don't know if it was a samurai or if it was like old England in the battles in the 1200s.
Yeah. A Confederate
Castle
sword.
or Confederate sword. I don't know what kind of sword it was. They didn't.
They
This
didn't
is why.
specify the sword.
Trey, this is why I have to follow up on this story.
We need to know what kind of sword this was.
So when the cop got out of the car and of course approached this person,
I can imagine.
what do you do? You're
The
like,
reaction.
this guy's literally waving his sword around. He's not holding it. They said he was waving it, like doing one of your tests or routines.
So he was
It
just
like doing a
flailing around with
routine and screaming something.
Gotcha.
And so the cop said, "You need to put the sword down." And he didn't do it. And the cop said, and then he
Kind of a take it easy type
slowly
deal.
pulled his gun because this guy was inching his way. And then all of a sudden, apparently, the guy sprints at the cop with his sword.
no.
With his sword drawn, like he's
Wow.
like going to try and just stab him through. And the cop, of course, guess what? Has to shoot this guy because what are you going to do?
Yeah. It's
And
unfortunate.
and of course, again, we make light of it because this guy has a sword. The visual of this guy like charging this cop like with a sword, but it got me thinking again. Okay, as silly as that is, I can't imagine maybe that someone out there. I can't imagine is what I'm trying to say. Someone out there is likely saying the cop didn't need to shoot this person. Because this is what happens whenever cops shoot somebody. Oh, they should have done this. They should have done that. The person doesn't deserve to die. Well, I'll tell you what. Tell me what this cop should have done differently in this situation. You're being charged by a man with a sword.
That's crazy.
I would shoot him before he even started charging because he's obviously crazy and he's got a sword. So maybe I wouldn't. I don't know.
What did it say in the story by chance why they pulled him over? I mean, was he speeding? Was it just a silly traffic stop? Or was he?
From my understanding, they approached him because he dashed into the middle of the road with his sword
Oh, that's when they stopped.
right in front of the police car.
So he voluntarily.
It says it forced the officer to brake suddenly.
Oh,
So I don't know if he allegedly started to swing it back and forth while advancing on the car once the car stopped.
are you sure this was in Florida?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. I do know it was Massachusetts. But it's so the officer backed up until traffic came behind him, which prevented him from going any further in the car.
Oh, okay.
So he couldn't go anywhere. He tried to back up. So then he got out and he said, "You better drop the sword." And the guy didn't. And then he sprinted. He sprinted with his sword above his head and ignored another command to drop the sword. When he was close enough to be able to hit the officer shot him. I wouldn't even wait till he was close enough. This guy wasn't going to just stop and go, "Oh, I'm just kidding.
Just playing.
Yeah, I was just messing with you. If you had a sword, we could battle right now." Like, no, there was intent apparently. So
Is there also family members coming out saying he was an angel? He was misunderstood?
Exactly. That's what I meant. Like, I feel like somebody's going to be like, "Oh, he didn't deserve to die."
He just liked playing with swords.
Yeah, he just was a sword enthusiast. I don't know.
Maybe
So,
he was running over to show the sword to the officer.
Yeah, look what I got.
Yeah, look at the sword I got.
Yeah, maybe,
Sir?
or maybe he was, sadly he was special. Maybe he had some issues and he was just playing with his sword.
Just wanted a sword fight.
He wanted a sword fight, or he was excited to show it to the officer,
Yeah.
so he's running towards him.
Check this out, sir.
Yeah, and he just liked to yell.
Interesting. I can't wait to hear a follow-up on this
So
one.
I do kind of want to follow that up. So if you hear something before I do, then let me know, because
Sword wielding.
I just can't. I read the story and I was like, is this that interesting? And the amount of times that I shook my head like in disbelief and then started laughing
Right.
back and forth, maybe I felt like I needed to share it. So
I'm glad you did.
So these two stories don't help the American cause. Now, granted, it's two people in a country of 330 million.
Yeah.
So, okay, I still have hope.
There's going to be some craziness somewhere.
But damn, if somebody over there in France is going, stupid American.
Right.
I don't know what accent that just was, but it was something like
That was
French.
Spanglish.
It was something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, people over there are just like, okay, wow.
We're not helping our cause.
And I don't think, and I'm sure there are some crazies over there as well. The difference is the gun thing with the one. You don't, maybe you have somebody that stabs a person instead because the beer can was thrown and there becomes an issue. But
Right.
I just haven't heard those stories, and I try and follow like BBC and some of these worldwide networks, but good old America making us look proud in that situation. So
We got to prove how stupid we are.
yeah, so those are the two kind of serious but not serious stories tonight. I wanted to kind of see what your thoughts were.
That is interesting. I actually heard a comedian that was actually talking about how when America does things, we do it top notch. We go above and beyond.
To the extreme. I mean, we do it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. And so
We don't just do it. We do it.
he made reference, and I should know the country he was from to make it funnier, but he said, if we have somebody that's special or quote unquote that village idiot, he just runs around the park, yelling crazy things and, looking up at the birds, whatever. Said, our village idiot, we end up electing as president. So we always go above and beyond.
Yeah, they had to get that joke in there.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And that applies to pretty much the last, how many presidents?
So I guess it depends. So
That's funny. Yeah. I don't know when the show was, so I'm not sure which of the last couple he was referring to.
right, he didn't specify, but it was kind of funny.
Most people, we all know who he probably was talking about.
Yeah,
That might have been the Australian comedian. I forget his name. Anyway, well, that's good. So I really would like to move on to something that I think everybody listening has been waiting for. And I say everybody, meaning me, and I could care less about everybody else at this moment. But for everybody else listening, trust me. Just trust me. You're going to want to hear another Trey dating story.
you built that up too much.
I'm
scared.
I did. Well, but look, I get excited, as we all know. So I don't think it's going to be. I mean, look, the one that was a disappointment wasn't. I mean, it was a disappointment because it only lasted like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that you have a story now that is not going to last only 20 seconds.
It did not. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a little longer.
So everybody, brace yourselves, strap yourselves
Brace
in,
yourselves.
and here we go. Another edition of Trey's Dating Life.
Yeah. So,
Here we go.
okay. So I met this woman it was one of the dating apps, either Tinder or Bumble.
You say that every time.
It's my memory's getting
You
bad.
need like a log.
Well, when you're like on 12 different dating apps, you gotta. I can't remember which one is which.
She was on one of 12.
I would literally save the name and then a dash and then Bumble or Tinder just to
that's-
make sure I could
that
remember.
is-
That's bad, isn't it?
Well, but it's also fantastic.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, because
What if you mixed it up? You're like, oh, I'm so glad we met on Bumble. And she's like, what? We didn't meet on Bumble.
Yeah.
How many girls are you seeing?
right. So anyway, she told me up front that she was in an open marriage.
Oh.
So I was like, interesting.
How'd you feel about that?
That was interesting. I wasn't familiar with this. So
Well, you knew what an open marriage was.
Well, kind of, I guess I assumed
Okay.
what an open marriage was, but never been a part of this. So this dynamic. So we meet up for lunch in Dallas one day just to meet. And she's actually a doctor at a hospital in Dallas. So she's an intelligent woman.
Well, we hope.
Yeah.
If you're a doctor, what kind of doctor does she's?
I didn't ask. I wasn't paying
See,
attention. She told me.
you were very interested in this one. Go ahead.
So yeah, she was a lovely woman. Very
Yeah, good looking.
June Cleaver, I guess is the best way to put it. Very
Put together.
Had the mom vibe.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we had good conversation, and she just kind of told me as far as, kind of what she was looking for is her husband had a girlfriend, and she was kind of looking for the same for herself.
It's already so weird. I love it.
Yeah. So she was hoping to meet somebody to engage and, have, in essence, a boyfriend.
Okay.
For herself.
She wanted a boyfriend, or did she just want coitus?
Yes.
Okay, so she wanted somebody to have fun with, play around with, date,
Right.
go to movies with her, whatever.
But obviously not change
But-
her marriage
But
situation.
she was going to remain married.
Right.
You weren't. If somebody fell for her, you weren't going to pull her away. From
Right,
her.
which is
Got it.
fine.
Which-
Fine.
well, for you,
Yeah, it was
some
fine.
some men, I imagine, couldn't handle that.
So lunch went well. We decided, okay, we'll go ahead and meet up another time. So she invited me out to her house.
Another second date.
Yeah, it was
This is
actually a
already so
second
much
date,
better
yeah.
than your first story.
So I go out to her house in Dallas. Nice home. She told me she had a hot tub. She says we can come over.
Oh.
Yeah, enjoy the hot tub and stuff like that. So we get over there. Couldn't figure out how to work the hot tub. So it started out awkward.
Wait, she didn't know how to work her own hot tub?
She couldn't figure out how. She hadn't turned it on yet, I guess.
Isn't she
I
a
don't know if they just
doctor?
moved in. We couldn't figure out how to turn the damn hot tub on.
Oh man.
I think at one point she called her husband to see if he could help, which was super.
I love it. No,
Interesting.
It's not weird at all.
So we're sitting out, just hanging out by the hot tub, talking, and she's like, you know what? Let's just go inside. All right, here we go. So
Wow.
yeah, so end up going inside, and she has her own separate bedroom. So she has their bedroom and then her own bedroom. I thought that was interesting. So
Okay. Seriously, does
Yes.
he have his own bedroom?
I don't
Or
know.
does he keep the main one?
I don't know if he keeps the main one. I don't know how.
She has a
they-
bedroom. It's like her.
Did they
it's her
flip a coin who
bedroom.
gets to keep the main one? So
I don't know.
that's-
I mean, I'd probably want the separate one.
Yeah.
Wow. So she's okay. Go ahead. Please continue. Go ahead.
So anyway, we end up in the bedroom, and things start getting heavy. Petting, kissing, all that wonderful
Okay.
goodness. So
Go ahead.
as the kids are putting it, coitus. So
I'm not sure why I said coitus, but
we're
go ahead.
enjoying each other's company.
Okay. So you're in the act.
Both, in any and every position, upside down,
Okay.
inside out.
Take it easy.
So, anyways, we're in the middle of
Of that, yeah,
passion,
of passion,
we'll say.
of playtime,
And I hear the door open,
like a front door.
the front door open.
Okay.
So I was like, I kind of stopped, and I was like, what is it? Who?
Oh, I think I know. Go ahead.
She said, oh, don't worry. That's just my husband.
No, of course it is.
So
Well, but I mean, your initial reaction is going to be like, "Oh shit!"
jump out the
But-
window.
But in this case, it's open, so like he can't get
She
mad,
said,
can he?
She said, don't worry about it. He's got his girlfriend with him.
What?
And I was like, okay. And it did throw me off. I was like, I don't know how to handle this. Do I go, because, I get loud and I don't want him to
Whoa.
hear me. So it's like, what do I do?
God, I can't get that out of my head now.
And so she's like, don't worry. And literally the other bedroom was right across the hallway. So
I
it's
keep
not
forgetting you're in hers.
in another wing or anything
so
like
he wasn't
that.
going to come in that bedroom.
No.
So literally, you guys could have been in bedrooms right next to each other, like getting it on with.
Exactly.
God, Jesus.
So
Well, I guess that's better than if it would, she didn't have her own bedroom, because why
Right.
not? Everybody has their own bedroom.
Right.
That's true.
So yeah,
But I'm
definitely
saying
froze.
that if you were if they had a master bedroom
and he walks in
and he
with the girlfriend.
that was my next question: is did they try to get in on?
No,
this?
no, no.
Oh, that it wasn't anything.
That would have
like
been
that.
interesting, though. I'd be
wasn't like
curious
that.
to see that. No,
Okay.
there was no. He didn't knock on the door, so obviously he knew she had company. So
Company.
So he proceeded to take his girlfriend
So
to the master.
this may have been what you're about to say, but I've got to know. I mean, did it? So you heard it, and she said, "Don't worry about it." And then were you able to, like, you guys continue?
We pushed on.
You pushed on.
We pushed on.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
You pushed on through even after that had happened.
Yeah, that was some weirdness, and just because again, this first time part of this dynamic, so
Yeah.
was curious, and if we were going to hear something, and she was fine with it. It was no big deal. It's just nothing to her. So we continued, and it was a fun night,
Wow.
and we did not see each other anymore after that. We did stay in touch. We did stay in touch.
This was a one-time
This
kind of second. This was the second date.
Second date, first only once that we.
Yeah, the first one was just a lunch.
Just a lunch, just to meet each other, just see how we interacted, see if there was a vibe.
Why do you think it didn't continue?
Honestly, I was still kind of say playing the field. I was still seeing other women.
So you just wasn't. This wasn't one that was going to get you to stop doing that.
Right.
Got it.
And I don't know if we ever had that discussion. It kind of got to a point where we didn't schedule another meeting.
Yeah.
And maybe she was unimpressed. That's very possible too. So,
Oh, don't
You know.
say that about yourself.
we are recording right now, aren't we? I shouldn't say
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah, or you need to be confident.
confident. So, maybe she was just wore out. Like she couldn't
Right.
walk
She
the next
couldn't-
day.
She couldn't
and-
take it
yeah,
anymore.
She
That-
couldn't handle
yeah.
another round, maybe.
Well,
But
that's
yeah,
great.
She was nice, and so I actually reached out to her about some advice on a few other things after
Oh.
the fact. So yeah, we kept in touch for a little while. I haven't talked to her in a while, so yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know if that lived up to any hype.
Any story that that the wife's husband and his girlfriend come into the house at the same time and this and that. I'm just fascinated by open marriages. I cannot imagine.
It makes you wonder how you get to that point, because I think she mentioned at one point she had a previous boyfriend that she took to parties and stuff like that,
Right.
just to get out. And so it's interesting how you get to a point where you decide, hey, were they in open relationships before they met, and this was just kind of the lifestyle they enjoyed? It's kind of curious how you kind of end up in that situation where you decide, hey, we're going to be in an open relationship. So there's got to be a lot of trust involved with something like that, and I'm assuming rules are involved as far as what you can't do. I'm sure there's protection, that kind of stuff. So it'd be interesting to pick her brain. She would be a great guest to have on.
Oh yeah, I'd love to talk to her about
So-
this. I again, the open marriage. I mean, it's just funny to me, and I'm trying to be open-minded, if you will, to open marriages. As far as hearing about them, I don't want one, but it's so hard for me to believe that you can use the word trust in an open marriage. You know what I mean? Like, for somebody that isn't interested in open marriage, trust is key.
Right.
But somebody that you're telling me that people that have an open marriage have to trust each other, and to me that sounds odd. It sounds off. I mean, I assume that if there is, there are rules, and I don't know. I mean, what would the rules be? Like, you can't.
Maybe you can't. I had looked this up once before. I wanted to say, like, one of them is you can't fall in love.
Well,
So-
you can't help that sometimes.
Well, yeah, and how do you decide who you fall in love with? How do you make
That's
that
what I
decision? I'm
mean.
not going to fall in love with
right,
this person.
you can't
So
do that. You can't
that's-
commit to that.
That's hard to do. So
That's stupid.
that's
I just feel like, okay, maybe there's you're not allowed to, I don't know, maybe there are certain things, certain acts that you don't want
Or maybe you can't spend the night with your boyfriend unless I spend the night with my girlfriend. Maybe something to that effect.
It's too complicated,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
I can imagine.
Then you're basically sitting there going, okay, well, this isn't fair. I have to sit here and wait because
You must always use protection. I would assume would be a big one.
And that makes sense, though.
Yeah.
I get that. If you're going to stay married and you love each other and you're just both into this, sure, protection is a big one. I can see that. That makes sense. Maybe there's an act that, the man doesn't want his wife to do certain things.
Yeah. There was one that I learned too. It was as far as meeting. So the husband had to kind of approve of you, I guess is the best way to put it. So
that becomes weird.
Yeah. And there was a couple scenarios where I almost went through something like that to meet before, so that was interesting.
Really? Like we had to meet the husband?
You would have to meet the husband first before.
How many open marriages?
On these sites, it was pretty.
God.
Yeah, it was pretty. There was quite a few of them. So, and there was a club I went to, a lifestyle club, same thing.
Oh.
There were certain rules as far as
we're going to get to the lifestyle club at some point.
Asking permission and this, that, and the other. So it's an interesting lifestyle out there, and it's something that you can't ever say I would never do, and until you find that one person, I think. And there's certain things that when you find that one person, maybe you become a little bit more okay with.
When you say that one person, you mean somebody that you develop feelings for, and that now you kind of understand because that person's able to explain it better or demonstrate it better, or you're sharing kind of some of the intimacy and the moments. And
it's almost like, when you find your person, if you think that you find that one person, I know you've heard the saying, right person, wrong time, right?
Sure.
So you find that right person in a.
I had a lot of right time, wrong persons in my life.
We'll say that right person, but difficult situation. I think so. It's kind of like, do I want that person in my life with some of these difficulties, or do I want to go back to easy without them in my life type deal?
Well, fair enough. It sounds to me like you've been in a few of these, and it sounds to me like maybe you had some feelings for somebody in this situation.
Yeah.
Okay. You act like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way. And
I mean, well, you're sitting here talking about it this way, so it's obvious, which is very intriguing to me, by the way. We won't get into it tonight much, and I'm just going to tease everybody with it. So you were either interested in heavily at some point, or are currently in somebody that's in this situation, and in this situation, you were or are the other guy, in a sense,
right?
But you established feelings for this person who was just supposed to be, a hangout, if you will, and all of a sudden, you're trying to understand how this person could have feelings one way and still be connected somewhere else, and it just becomes a big mess.
how that dynamic works.
How the dynamic works.
Because for me, once you get intimate with somebody that you really enjoy, for me, I'm thinking, okay, if I see another woman or find interest in another woman, that's bad. I'm in essence cheating on this other woman. So it's weird how that dynamic goes when realistically, no, I'm not really cheating, but in my mind,
that is tough. I can't even.
So
that sucks that you think you have to think about it that way, but you just do,
right?
Because
I'm new to this whole dynamic. So
but what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to sit there and not meet anybody and just be the?
I don't know.
Right, and that's the question that I think. If you bring open marriages into a discussion, where I was ready to laugh at you earlier, but now I'm thinking there's some more here. If you bring open marriages into the conversation, it's always the other guy or other girl, if you will, in this situation that seems to get hurt, or that seems to be kind of going, "How do I do this?" The married couple, it's easy, not easy, but the married couple, it's simple. Okay, we're both going to see other people in a sense physically.
Right.
We're not supposed to fall in love. We're not supposed to do all these things, like you said. We're not supposed to do whatever. So that's basically it. And I'll try and see the other person when I can. And as the other person, that they're going, okay, well, do I just sit around? Do I date somebody else? Am I supposed to be interested in somebody else? Like it just seems like that person would be it would be difficult.
Right.
But unless it was just like a quick, like your story, it sounds like you were okay. Just all right, letting it fade.
Yeah. So it would be, maybe I reach back out and see if we can get her on the show. Say, how does this dynamic work? How did it come about?
I would love to talk about open marriages because I'm just fascinated by it. I can't imagine having an open marriage.
Well, and I've heard stories where couples would go on vacation, and when they were on the vacation, it was an open marriage while they were on vacation.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
So while they're there for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, they had the quote unquote hall pass to do whatever they wanted. And then when they came back, it was them two, and they were completely happy. So,
Oh, man, I couldn't do that.
all kinds of different variations of this type of open relationship, open marriage.
But on the vacation, was it like, let's go meet people and all just kind of swing? Or was it just, let's go off?
I didn't get too many details. I didn't, and that's
to me, that's different.
And there have been, and back to the rules, I've seen it where they play together or they play separately is what they call it, and then what they'll tell you. So
You sound like a pro. Play together, play separate, whatever.
well, and I've had scenarios where there's been another man in there, and it's thrown me off. Yeah.
Hold on, Trey.
So
Trey.
needless to say,
Trey.
yeah.
I wish I had more time tonight because I'm going to go ahead and just tease people and say, look, you just admitted that story will be told in the next episode or two. So hang with us, everybody, and tune in. Oh my God. Okay.
So I've definitely put myself in some situations where I was just like, how did I?
You think?
I mean, on the drive home, I was like, wow, how did I end up there?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is just glorious. No, do you think she'd come on?
Oh, I don't know. I have to reach out to
Okay.
her.
We'll I
haven't
hope she
talked to her
does.
in a while.
I hope she does, or anybody that has that experience would be great to talk about. I think it's just so interesting to me because it is a different mindset, and somebody like myself who, I'll admit, in that situation, like I never got really jealous when just basic stuff, but the idea that now that I've like committed my life to a person, that somebody else would experience that person in any way just makes me cringe.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me sick to think about. I mean, I'm a very vivid dreamer, and I've obviously, like anybody probably, have had dreams about that, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
Much less dealing with an open marriage. Oh, I can't imagine. So I'm fascinated.
Well,
I want to talk about it.
And there have been women that I've been in, let's say, a relationship with. I've dated multiple times, and I actually rooted for them to find other guys. And because I knew I wasn't interested in anything long term with them.
Oh, you do?
So there was one I even told, hey, I can be your wingman. If you go out, you meet somebody, awesome. If you don't, then we can go.
See, you're talking about this like it's normal.
Right. Well,
and I'm telling you right now, this is great.
And obviously at this particular time in my life, I wasn't looking for anything serious.
I know, but just the way I'll be your wingman. We'll go out. Like it's just.
And so I told her, I said, she was a cool girl. And I told her, I said, yeah, because what was scary, and I'll tell you what was scary about this particular one is that she was actually going through a divorce. And I told her flat out, I hope I'm not the reason you're going through a divorce.
Right.
And she's like, no. And I told her, I said, because I'm not promising you anything.
You thought she might have.
I was worried about that at one point.
That into you.
Yeah.
That she would say she wanted a divorce. Wow. I think she would have maybe talked to you first to make sure. No.
So, but anyway, that was kind of the conversation we had. And I told her, I said, we can stay friends. Like I said, I'll be your wingman if you want to meet other guys, this, that, and the other. So there was no issues with that. And I think she definitely wanted more, and I had to end it with her because, I didn't want anything more. So
Right. Deep breath.
So yeah.
I think we should just do a show about your fucking weird ass dating life. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write maybe a snail mail letter because it'll be more official. Maybe I'll just do an email to your ex-wife and thank her for opening up these stories to our audience.
Right.
I don't mean to make light of your divorce. It's been long enough, right?
Yeah.
There's no too soon here.
No, not at all. Not
Good.
at all.
I know.
She definitely helped rip the Band-Aid off that one.
She ripped the Band-Aid off,
yeah.
and here we are with fantastic content for our listeners. Let me tell you, this is just a preview, everybody, to, man, like I'm ready to roll right now, but we won't. We'll save it.
Yeah.
You're a good dude, and I just don't know how you get yourself in these situations.
I've done some silly things, so.
Well,
Yeah.
silly is in the eye of the beholder. It's all about perspective.
Yeah.
It's subjective, all that good stuff. So yeah, I don't know how to end on that. We will. Are you okay ending on that?
Yeah, that works.
Can't think of anything else I'd like to say tonight. I just get
shaking your head.
I just get so worn out emotionally and mentally after
Yeah.
listening to these things. Because like I said, I'm sitting here cringing when you said the husband walked in. I'm like, oh my God, like what would I do? Could I continue, if you will?
Well, I will tell you, that wasn't the first time that's happened either. It happened again after that, I should say.
Okay.
We can tell that later.
All right, we're not ending the show quite yet. That's right. What do you mean that's not? So that was the first time it happened. You're saying there was a different time.
There was another time that happened.
With the same woman?
Different woman.
Okay, hold on. I'm too close to the mic here. I'm laughing really hard. Okay. All right. We're going to talk about this on the next show.
Yeah.
All right. Are you okay with that? The next show. Like the beginning of the next show. The music's not even going to be done in the beginning intro. And I'm going to be like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
So write us at stayinthegraypodcast.com. Go ahead. Gray with an A.
Oh, Gray with an A. Yeah.
Don't forget
Podcast
podcast
at the end. Yeah. .com.
Write us and tell us if you're looking forward to this because, look, I don't even care. We're going to talk about it. But I think Trey needs to understand how much people want to hear this to motivate him to tell it. I cannot believe this. Okay. I'm going to stop. There was another. I'm cringing just because it just happened the way it did one time and like, oh my goodness. But you're just like, oh yeah, it happened again the following weekend or whatever.
That second one freaked me out too.
Oh, that's a good. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Next episode, we'll talk about that.
Sounds good.
Deal? Man. I love you, brother. I did not. I swear I didn't want to join up with you to do this podcast because of these stories. This is just like a bonus to being one of your best friends for so long. What happened to the days where we just used to golf and eat bad food?
Right. And play rock band.
And play rock band. I mean, we were cool. We were so cool. And now, just in case you missed the last 15 minutes, now you're hooking up with married women multiple times. You've got men involved, apparently. You're going to something called a lifestyle house or a lifestyle something club.
You're making this sound horrible.
You've had multiple failed dates with large women. Not that we have a problem with large women, but that have falsified their looks. You just have just a plethora of experiences that many of us will never have. So I look forward to hearing more.
It's been interesting, to say the least.
All right. Well, we'll shut it down right there. What do you think?
Sounds good.
All right. Get ready for the next episode, everybody.
Take it easy.
All right. We love you guys.
Later.
Bye.
Can you imagine his reaction if he saw me running around in his underwear?
Was he hot?